Greg Jones. That guy, Greg Jones.
Hi! Hi! I finished my last black belt test. I was relieved. I was exhausted. I went to sit down. The guy next to me leaned over. He said, "That's the guy I want to work out with." With the last of my energy, I did not say, "That guy thinks you're a jerk." Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, I will share with you a part of my martial arts journey, a few insights along the way, perhaps explain my disdain for my fellow martial artist, explain how, despite all of that, I'm still that guy, and issue you perhaps a challenge. The first thing I want you to remember, don't believe the hype. The martial arts does not perfect character. It reveals it. When I got my first black belt, I was quite confident I had earned it. I had the lumps, I had the limp, but I was now that guy, confident, a natural leader. I had a canned answer for the tough questions given to me by my martial arts instructor, 10th degree black belt. I was supposed to respond, "My instructor is Mr. Long, and he has told me not to accept feedback from underbelts." To put that in Toastmasters terms, I should not accept feedback from anyone except the senior-most DTM in the world. Hold that thought for later. The real secret in the martial arts is the kata, not the sparring. What is the kata? The katas are basically dances, violent dances. And they also tell stories. When you start learning a kata, you are an 80s action hero. So every motion kills somebody. This is great. Wow. Death everywhere, victory. As you skill up, you realize they're not just standing there, they're fighting back. Now this is really a block, and you may have to punch this guy multiple times before he goes down. As your skill level goes up, your ideal is one opponent for the entire kata who's at least as good as you. I hope you win. With that black belt and that art, I had mastered the blocks and the punches. But I started to have a few questions. For example, right here, there's a throw there. I didn't know how to do the throw. My instructor didn't tell us how to do the throw. I never saw him do the throw. Nobody did the throw, but they told us it was there. I started to become that guy thinking, this doesn't really add up. There's something missing here. But of course, you only accept feedback from the senior-most belt, so I couldn't ask anybody else without getting another that guy response, because we were all that guy. It gnawed at me over and over. And understand, I'm telling you about one spot with one throw. There are multiple katas, multiple techniques, multiple throws that nobody could do. All sorts of other secrets that we really were supposed to understand at some point. Never got there. It began to fracture my facade. So I was no longer that guy. I was worried I was that fraud. Years later, I stumbled across another martial art. It was jiu-jitsu. And they threw. Yes! Now I understand. That was the fireman's carry. But even better, when they do those katas, it's not 80s action heroes. You do the kata every time with somebody else. You get constant feedback. And every time you do it, it's a different story. If I'm doing this throw, and we're about the same size, okay. If he's taller, I don't have to do much at all. I just want my belt below his. If it's somebody shorter, hopefully my knees are good that day because I've got to get down to here to do that throw. Every joint lock, every choke, every one of those things requires feedback. And there's a sweet spot. Because you can get in the habit of saying, okay, that's close enough, we're done. You can just say, okay, yeah, you threw me, I'm done. You've got to resist. You've got to resist just enough to make that other person work. Not so much to be that guy, but enough to make sure the technique is working, to get that proper feedback. My fellow martial artist had convinced me multiple times over that he had reached that point where, oh, that's good enough. And he was usually in the back. Yeah, you guys are good, yeah. There was no learning. It's that discomfort that causes the learning. Because sometimes you fail. Sometimes you have to learn something new to succeed. My challenge to you, because you may or may not have noticed I'm trying to be subtle, or not so subtle, when you give and receive feedback in Toastmasters, are you just going, oh, that's good enough? Or are you accepting and inflicting enough discomfort to learn? Don't be that guy. Mr. Contest Master.